In my past life, a month before I was to be engaged to my childhood friend, our mutual girlhood friend cornered him at his doorstep sobbing. She confessed that she had secretly loved him all these years and hoped he would give her a chance. He didn't agree, and later we got married smoothly, but she never gave up until the white moonlight faded into leftover rice. The once indelible mosquito blood on the man's heart turned into a cinnabar mole eagerly pregnant. She came to declare her dominance. And in the scuffle, pushed me down the stairs, leaving me bloodied and battered in a daze. I saw my childhood friend and his mother rushing over, supporting her carefully, concerned about whether she had disturbed the baby. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in high school. I looked at the man and woman in front of me. This time, everything will be different. When I opened my eyes, I was in a classroom. I was wearing a high school summer uniform, with the faint chirping of cicadas and the cheers from outside blending together. My head feels heavy and foggy. I sat up straight, dazed, looking at everything in front of me. The last thing I remember is leaving the law firm with a draft of the divorce agreement, returning home, and encountering Han Chi-Chi, who was waiting for me at the door, heavily pregnant like a peacock that had finally won a fight. She raised her head and proudly showed off to me. I'm pregnant. Achin said he's going to divorce you. I stayed silent, stepped past her, and fished out my keys to unlock the door. Perhaps my indifferent attitude failed to add the final flourish to her victory. Suddenly, she became agitated, grabbing onto me desperately and refusing to let go. In the struggle, she suddenly pushed hard, and I lost my balance in high heels, tumbling down the stairs. My head hit the ground. Warm blood and intense pain became my final sensations. 2. The sound of hurried footsteps approached, and a bottle of water was placed on my desk. I heard you got heatstroke. You only made it halfway through PE class. What happened? I looked up to see a familiar face, etched with a hint of worry. It was Shin-Chen, much younger, my childhood friend, my husband, the father of Han Chi-Chi's child. Shin-Chen. I stared at him, thinking of how, after the fall down the stairs, he rushed to her and immediately chose to pick up Han Chi-Chi. He comforted the crying her, telling her not to be afraid, that the child would be fine. Yao. No response. Shin-Chen waved his hand in front of my face. Are you running a fever? I suddenly felt a bit ridiculous. After all this, I still have such dreams. Is it really so pathetic that I subconsciously crave his concern? I let out a cold, mocking laugh. Shin-Chen was taken aback, and at that moment, another familiar, overly dramatic female voice rang out from the classroom doorway. Yao, are you okay? Han Chi-Chi rushed in, her face a picture of concern. I heard you almost fainted from heatstroke. You scared me to death. But while her words were full of worry for me, she had already shifted her body towards Shin-Chen, subtly brushing against his sleeve. How could I not have noticed before? I murmured. What? Both of them were momentarily stunned. What a fool. I shook my head and laughed. Considering Han Chi-Chi a close friend, I shared my secrets with Shin-Chen, included her in our study group, helped her with her studies, and managed to boost her from the bottom of the grade to the top 100 even after I started dating Shin-Chen. I often took her along when we went out because she always said she missed us. She even jokingly called herself the third wheel. Like that friend Steven, I introduced her to several boyfriends, all of whom were excellent, but she always said they weren't a good fit. Why didn't I realize this sooner? In fact, she had already fallen for Shin-Chen before we even became friends. On the eve of my engagement to Shin-Chen, she stood in the rain, crying, blocking his doorway, and begged him for a fair chance to compete. She kept saying she didn't want to ruin our friendship, yet insisted she loved him too much and couldn't help herself. Back then, Shin-Chen didn't accept her. He went ahead and firmly committed to our engagement and marriage. Yet, for 5 years after the wedding, Han Chi-Chi remained the third person in our marriage. After tearing down that metaphorical barrier, she became completely unrestrained, showing up at Shin-Chen's workplace, making him lunch, buying him clothes, and showing constant concern. She claimed she would prove through her actions that she loved Shin-Chen more than I did. Shin-Chen detested her entanglement, blocked her, avoided her, and returned or discarded everything she sent. Half a year later, Han Chi-Chi came to me in tears, kneeling and begging for my forgiveness, admitting she had been bewitched and would no longer bother Shin-Chen. She wants to be friends with us again. Of course, I'm not saintly enough to be friends with someone who tried to ruin my marriage, Shin-Chen said, and he wouldn't either. But as the dual pressures of mundane married life and having a child set in, every moment of tiny cracks appearing in our marriage, Han Chi-Chi still permeated our lives like an unstoppable virus, infiltrating and influencing us. Shin-Chen started mentioning her more and more, even beginning to reminisce about her. He would talk about Han Chi-Chi's understanding nature during arguments, and about her cooking skills, which she had practiced just for him. When the food didn't suit his taste, finally, Those tiny gaps that could have been filled grew wider because of the third person's presence. During our cold wars and arguments, he began staying out all night. I couldn't tolerate the betrayal in our marriage, so I proposed a divorce. Instead of agreeing, he wept and apologized to me. He claimed he loved me, but I knew he couldn't let go of Han Chi-Chi anymore. He was infatuated with her obedience, compromise, gentleness, and constant flattery, so I went to see a lawyer alone and had the divorce papers drawn up. I wanted to break free from this tangled, painful relationship. I had made all my plans for after the divorce, ready to move to another city and start a new life, but in the end, I was still pushed over the edge by Han Chi-Chi, forced to witness that sickening scene. 3. The class bell rang out before long. All afternoon, I stared at the familiar yet strange writing on the blackboard and watched the teachers come and go at the lectern, until I finally realized one thing: this was not a dream. I had been reborn. Perhaps it was divine mercy for my poor judgment in my past life, granting me a second chance by restarting my life in the second year of high school. Just as my friendship with Han Chi-Chi was beginning. Han Chi-Chi was a transfer student. She didn't get into our high school on her entrance exam, spent a year at a third-rate school, and then her family paid to transfer her here. Her grades were poor. Every time she ended up at the bottom of the class, she would hide in the bathroom and cry. High school is like a small society, and girls who don't do well academically are actually quite vulnerable to bullying. Soon, some people started making fun of her, deliberately locking the bathroom door when she went to cry, pouring water on her head, and laughing while calling her a stupid crying Chi-Chi girl. It was me who saved her. I chased away the girls who were bullying her and even gave her my spare clothes. She cried and thanked me, and I felt sorry for her, fearing she might be bullied again, so I took the initiative to become her friend. I am the student council president, and I have some influence both in the class and the school. My concern for her gradually improved the attitudes of other classmates toward her, and Shin Chen, because of me, often took good care of her as well. When I was young, my kind parents always told me, giving roses to others leaves a lingering fragrance in your hand. I've always remembered those words. Ever since I was little, I've done my best to help anyone I could. Later, when Han Chi-Chi timidly mentioned wanting to improve her grades, I brought her into the study group I had with Shin Chen. I helped her get her scores up, and she ended up getting into a local 211 project university. But Shin Chen didn't do well on the college entrance exam. My judgment clouded by infatuation, I gave up my dream school to stay with him, opting for a local 985 project university instead. In my senior year, when the department offered an opportunity to study abroad for a master's degree, I stayed behind once again. For Shin Chen, looking back now, I must have seemed like a fool for making those decisions. Fortunately, this time, everything is just beginning, and there's still time for everything. Before long, the bell rang to signal the end of class. Shin Chen and Han Chi-Chi walked over to me together. Han Chi-Chi excitedly said, "Should our study group review English together today?" I stood up and picked up my school bag. "I'm heading home first." "For why are you going home all of a sudden? We still have 2 evening study sessions." Han Chi-Chi's eyes widened in surprise. "Are you still feeling the effects of the heat stroke from this afternoon?" Shin Chen reached out a hand. "Don't tell me you're actually running a fever." I turned my head away, avoiding his hand. He paused, his hand hanging in the air. "I'm a bit tired, so I asked the teacher for leave." "Let me take you back," Shin Chen said. "Wait for me. I'll go tell the teacher." "No need." I picked up my backpack, didn't wait for him, and turned to leave the classroom. Arriving at the building entrance of the residential complex, I happened to run into Shin Chen's mother coming down to take out the trash. Seeing me, Shin Chen's mother immediately lit up with a smile. "Oh, Yao Yao, why are you home so early today? By the way, come over to Auntie's place later to have some crispy cakes, freshly made and still warm." I looked at the woman in front of me. Once, I thought I had found the best mother-in-law in the world, but after marriage, because Shin Chen and I never had a child, I don't know how many cold shoulders I received from her. Even later, it was her who kept urging Shin Chen to try with someone else. "She's not right for you. I can't let her hold you back." When I was lying there, battered and bleeding, she arrived with Shin Chen. She didn't even spare me a glance. Her entire focus was solely on the child in Han Chi-Chi's womb. "Thank you, Auntie." I walked past her. "But I don't like shortbread cookies." 5. With Shin's mother looking on in surprise, I closed the door behind me. Glancing at the books on the second shelf of the bookcase, I looked at my 17-year-old self in the mirror. Suddenly, I felt that perhaps in this new life, I could change more than just love and marriage. That long-buried regret, maybe it's time to give it a shot. Just then, my mom came home from work, and right behind her was Shin Chen. I just ran into Xiaochen downstairs. "He said you had heat stroke at school and left early. Why didn't you call me?" My mom rushed over, feeling my forehead with concern. How are you feeling now? It's okay, I'm just a bit warm. Don't worry, my mom made some mung bean soup for Yao Yao. Shin placed the pot on the table. It's for cooling down, drink it when it's cool. And she also made some crispy biscuits. Really? My mom laughed. You put your mom to so much trouble again. No trouble at all, Auntie. Shin grinned, then leaned over to look at me. If you're feeling better, let's do our homework together tonight. In my past life, until high school, Shin and I often did our homework and discussed problems together since we lived across from each other. But this time around, I don't want to have a relationship beyond just being classmates with him. I don't want to get close to his mother again, and I don't want to repeat the tragic ending of my previous life. Shin, I said softly. I've been feeling a bit tired lately, so I want to study alone for a while. I'll step back from the study group and our evening study sessions. 6 And so, I left Shin and Han Chichi's study group for the following few days. I studied and did my homework on my own during evening self-study. Shin would usually come find me after class, but I'd typically make a point of heading to the restroom or the water fountain with my deskmate right before he showed up. Whenever Han Chichi came to ask me for help with a problem, I'd usually make an excuse that I was busy. Finally, one weekend, Shin cornered me right outside my front door. What did Han Chichi and I even do to upset you? He asked, clearly annoyed. Why are you suddenly giving us the cold shoulder? You're overthinking it. Finals are coming up. I just want to study alone. Overthinking. He raised his voice. The whole class can see you've been avoiding me lately. Do you think I'm blind or deaf? I fell silent for a moment. Shin. Do you like me? Huh? He was stunned. I don't like you. I said. What? I said, even though we grew up together and have been side by side for the past 17 years, I don't have feelings for you that go beyond friendship. I just want to study alone right now. What are you talking about? It seems like he heard something funny. Who said I like you? I just see you as a childhood friend. That's for the best, I said softly. Don't get the wrong idea. His face turned sour. I was just being a friend and showing concern. But you took it the wrong way and accused me of liking you. TCH, you want to study on your own, huh? That's fine. We'll all study on our own from now on. Okay. I nod. I watch his angry retreating figure. Sorry, 17-year-old Shin. I know you haven't done anything yet at 17, and you're not the two-timing jerk you'll become. This one-sided neglect might seem unfair to you, but with memories of my past life, I can no longer accept you. Moreover, since I've foreseen the disastrous future for both of us, why not nip this all in the bud? Forgetting each other in this vast world is the best outcome for us. 7 Since that day, Shin never came looking for me again. Han Chichi, seeing that I ignored her, went to find Shin, who, as if in a fit of pique, loudly told Han Chichi, it's fine, we can form a study group together, and our grades will still improve. It's not like anyone can't live without the other. Yes, that's exactly right. In this world, no one is truly indispensable to another. But just a few days later, my homeroom teacher, Mr. Zhang, suddenly called me into his office. Su Yao, have you been a little less willing to help your classmates lately? I frowned. Mr. Zhang, what do you mean? I heard you quit the study group in class. I nodded. Yes, I want to study on my own. Lao Zhang adjusted his glasses. Let me tell you, you're still too young. You need to understand that while academic excellence is important for students, good character is equally crucial. Selfish behavior is not acceptable. Teacher, I'm confused. I don't think the study group model suits me, and I just want to study. Well, why is that considered selfish? He sighed and changed the subject. Suju, the city's top 3 good student this year. The teacher originally wanted to nominate you. You know what a top 3 good student is, right? It's not just about good grades. One must also have good morality. Teacher Zhang, I interrupted him. First of all, last year's city's top 3 good student was selected through class voting and then school-wide voting. Fair and transparent. I wouldn't mind using the same format this year. Second, I only quit the study group with Shin and Han Chichi when my deskmate, the students sitting around me, or many other classmates came to me with questions. I was always eager to help. I don't see any issue with my own moral character or thinking if it were my 17-year-old self being emotionally manipulated by the homeroom teacher with a few words. I might have genuinely believed I wasn't good enough, but deep down, I'm a 27-year-old who's been through the ringer in the real world. This level of lecturing is child's play to me. Lao Zhang couldn't argue with me, so he let me return to the classroom first. But during the afternoon class meeting, he suddenly announced that he wanted to rearrange the seating. Our previous study groups have worked well, and many students' grades have improved in this month's exam. Standing on the podium, he said that with the final exams approaching, we will implement a new one-on-one desk buddy system to improve our classes. Overall performance. This year's selection for the city's top 3 good students will focus on moral education, and the progress of a student's desk buddy will be an important criterion. He called out the names and rearranged the seating, and Han Chichi was placed as my deskmate. Yao Yao. Han Chichi hugged her school bag, seemingly trying hard to consider my feelings. Don't worry, she said. To help you keep your title as a municipal AAA student, I'll work hard to improve my grades. I suddenly found it all a bit ridiculous. The homeroom teacher was gesticulating animatedly on the platform, the new watch on his wrist glaringly conspicuous. Han Chichi's family seems to be in the business of selling luxury watches. It suddenly dawned on me, in my previous life, the reason the homeroom teacher didn't intervene was that I had been actively helping Han Chichi. Under my guidance, her grades improved dramatically, and by senior year, she even made it into the top 100 in the grade. She had a weak foundation. And it's likely that, apart from me in my previous life, no other classmates would bother to spend their precious time helping her. Even Shin Chen, when we were studying together as 3, mostly discussed problems with me and rarely helped Han Chichi. When I first left the study group, although Han Chichi tried her best to hide it, it was clear she was elated. But soon after, she probably realized that Shin Chen had little patience for her, and with me, the most suitable and convenient helper, suddenly unwilling to help. Though the reason was unclear, she became anxious. She got into this school and class by pulling strings and spending money. Bribing Lao Zhang with an expensive watch was a piece of cake. They want to use the title of city's best student to keep me in check and make me continue offering free tutoring. They're really counting their chickens before they hatch. After class, I went to the office to find Lao Zhang. I don't want to sit next to Han Chichi. Please help me change seats. 8. Lao Zhang got angry as soon as he heard it. Su Yao, what's wrong with you? Didn't you just swear to me that you love helping your deskmate? Now you want to change seats. You're not cooperating in study groups, and now you want to change seats. Just look around the class and see who's as special as you. Teacher, do you love every single person in the world? Huh? He was stunned. People always have those they like and dislike. I can help my deskmate, but I don't like Han Chichi, so I'm not willing to help her. Why are you being picky about who you help? This seating arrangement is based on everyone's scores and is tied to the municipal 3 merit student selection. If you change it, is that fair to the others? Why are you only thinking about yourself? I let out a cold laugh. City's 3 excellence. City's 3 excellence. Then I'll withdraw from the city's 3 excellence selection. What? I said I'm withdrawing from the city's top 3 good student selection, and you don't need to find me a new deskmate. I'll sit alone. Reclusive, selfish. He's shaking with anger. I'm doing this for your own good. If you don't address your moral shortcomings now, you'll suffer greatly in society later. I'm teaching you how to be a decent person. Thank you for your kindness, teacher, but I know how to conduct myself. The first rule of being a person is not to compromise yourself for the sake of others' opinions. You're just making excuses for your selfishness. As the student council president, shouldn't you lead by example? Shouldn't you have a sense of community? If Han Chichi's grades improve, our class could be named an outstanding class this year. That's an honor for our entire class. Do you even deserve the votes of your classmates? Teacher, I smiled. Compulsory education only goes up to the 3rd year of junior high, right? I paid tuition for high school. I'm here to study, not to work. Whether the underperforming students in the class can improve their grades, and whether the class can win the title of an excellent class collective, is not my responsibility, it's yours. Whether I am qualified for the role of student council president will naturally be judged by the teachers in the student affairs office. If you want me to share your workload in the class, it's best to first contact my parents and discuss how much you should pay me. If the salary is right, I wouldn't mind. At such a young age, you're already so focused on personal gain. He pointed at me and said, don't think you're so great just because you're doing well in your studies now. Let me tell you, many girls often lose momentum by the time they reach their senior year, and their grades tend to drop. Teacher, that's not quite right. An unfamiliar voice sounded from the doorway. I turned around. A boy holding a basketball was leaning lazily against the doorframe. He spun the basketball in his hands. In the last 5 years, 3 of our school's top graduates have been girls. Right, for a teacher, making claims without any evidence seems a bit inappropriate, don't you think? Lu Shi, you're from the liberal arts class. What business is it of yours what happens in our science class? Old Zhang was furious. So he's Lu Shi, the top student of the liberal arts class, the one rumored to be the most likely candidate to win the city's top scholar award. Didn't teacher Zhang just say that, as students, moral character is crucial? Lu Shi shrugged, walked in, and since I was moved by the teacher's teachings, I couldn't stand by when I saw this female classmate being Bullied, I just spoke up to help. Old Zhang was left speechless, his face turning a deep shade of purple. Lu Shuri is rumored to be notoriously sharp-tongued and unruly. Even the head teacher of the liberal arts class doesn't bother much with him, so naturally, Teacher Zhang can't do anything about it. Then, he suddenly clutched his chest and pointed back at me. I tire myself out every day worrying about you. And you just want to drive me to an early grave. Don't worry, Teacher Zhang, I won't be able to upset you for much longer. I said calmly. I've made up my mind. I'm switching to the liberal arts class in my senior year 9. Upon hearing this, both Lao Zhang and Lu Shi were stunned. Lao Zhang sneered. Who are you trying to prove a point to? I've never seen anyone switch between liberal arts and science in their senior year. Lu Shuri also looked at me. I'm not joking. I looked at Lao Zhang. In a few days, I'll ask my parents to come and sign. Really think you're a genius? Want to study liberal arts? Go ahead. Want to study science? Go ahead. I ignored him and turned to leave the office. After stepping out, I could still hear Lao Zhang's mocking voice. If she really switches to the liberal arts, I'll write my surname backwards. Back in the classroom, I moved my desk and chair to the last row. Han Chichi watched me move my things, then turned to look at Shin Chen, her eyes wet and red, as if I was the one who bullied her. Most of the classmates just watched in silence. But Shin Chen walked over. What are you doing? He frowned. Isn't it obvious? I'm moving seats. Did the teacher agree? I informed him. He watched me pack up and took a deep breath. Come out with me for a moment. I came to the corridor with him. Don't take it out on Han Chichi just because you're arguing with me. That's really low. I laughed. Take it out on her. Aren't you just making things difficult for Han Chichi because I've been getting closer to her recently? But Su Yao, you're the one who first said we should just be ordinary classmates. We were just ordinary classmates. I just wanted to study quietly on my own. Shin Chen, I don't have any feelings for you. I just find Han Chichi annoying and don't want to waste my time helping her. That's all. After saying that, I wanted to go back to the classroom, but Shin Chen grabbed me. What's wrong with you? Why have you become so selfish? Let go. I frowned. All right, I give up. Will you please just stop messing around? What? He bit his lip. I'll be honest. I got close to her, walking to and from school together, just to get a rise out of you. But you can't just do something like this because you're angry. Then he muttered under his breath. You really should take a page out of Han Chichi's book when it comes to personality. Look how gentle and considerate she always is. With that temper of yours, I'm the only one who would put up with you. I just looked at the person in front of me in silence. Sure enough, whether in my past life or this one, whether at 17 or 27, Shin Chen was still the same Shin Chen. Han Chichi's gentle gestures and compromises, her efforts to please, he always enjoyed them, no matter what, and I lived in his self-righteous love and constant comparisons, like a spinning top that could never stop. Whenever I didn't spin well, fast, or to his liking, he would instinctively compare me to Han Chichi, pointing at her and saying, look, she spins so beautifully, yet I bestowed my love upon you, and you dare to be ungrateful and nitpick. But this kind of love, I never wanted it in the first place. Shin Chen, I said softly, I've always thought that the beginning of this relationship was because I took the initiative to help Han Chichi, so, for you, I feel a bit responsible. What? He didn't understand. I shook my head and gave you some advice. Focus on your studies this year of high school, do more mock exams, reduce your stress, and you can get into a good university. With that, I turned around and went back to the classroom. That's all I can do for him. What he does next is up to him. 10. When I got home, Mrs. Shin was sitting on the sofa, and my mom was on the phone. Sure, sorry to bother you, Teacher Zhang. I know, this really is. I guess the kid was just impulsive. Please don't rush to report it to the school. Okay. After hanging up the phone, my mom had a complicated expression. Your homeroom teacher said you want to switch to the liberal arts. I nodded. Switch to liberal arts? Aunt Shin immediately replied, listen to your aunt, you can't switch, you're about to enter your senior year of high school. Teacher Zhang said you were disrespectful to the teacher today and even wanted to sit alone. Have you encountered something recently? My mom asked. I shook my head. Mom, I want to study liberal arts and apply to the journalism department at Jing University. Jingda. Mrs. Shin immediately added, oh, Jingda is really hard to get into. Yao, let me tell you, girls shouldn't go into journalism. It's not safe, and it doesn't pay well. Girls should study something like accounting, so they can find stable jobs in the future. I was just talking to your mom, and we agreed that the accounting programs at our local 985 universities are quite good. Besides, Peking University is so far from home, it's better for a girl to stay close to her family. If you and Shinshin both attend university locally, you can even come home on weekends. In my past life, Shin Chen's Mother kept saying the same thing to my parents and me, constantly praising the benefits of staying local because of her leg problems. She doesn't like to go out. Shin told me a long time ago that his mother wanted him to apply to a local university, and as her so-called well-known and thoroughly vetted future daughter-in-law, of course, it was safest for me to stay local for university too. Back then, it wasn't just a case of being love-struck, it was the years of daily repetition, the hypnotic effect of those words, that led me to apply for the accounting program at the local university. You're the only daughter, it's best to stay close to your parents. You and Shin grew up together. There isn't a man in this world who will treat you better than he does. It's good to get married soon after graduation. Yao. Girls don't need to have too strong a career ambition. Stability is the most important, and you must take care of the family. Girls should have children early. It's also good for your recovery. It was under the influence of these ideas that I found a plain, stable job. After graduation, married Shin, and even doubted myself because I hadn't gotten pregnant for 5 years. I was unable to conceive, and Shin's mother's attitude towards me gradually worsened. Once, I accidentally overheard her telling Shin, "Son, even though you're married, you can't hang yourself on one tree. We should have done a premarital checkup." Who knew she couldn't have children? Mom, it might not be Yao's problem. It could be mine. How could it possibly be your fault? She raised her voice. And let me tell you, Yao has been spoiled by you since she was a child, always getting whatever she wants. Now, I actually think Chi is quite good, always bringing me things, and her personality is much better than Yao's. What era are we in now? Divorce isn't a taboo anymore. You and Yao are constantly arguing. Why don't you try with Chi? If you get her pregnant, just dump her and be with Chi. Past memories flooded my mind, while Shin's mother was still pouring out her values to my mom nonstop. In this world, most people are ordinary. One can't aim too high. For girls, stability is key. Find a good family you know well. Get married and have kids early after graduation. As the old saying goes, it's better to marry well than to study hard. Auntie, I interrupted her. Yes, most people in this world are ordinary, but ordinary people also have dreams. Dreams are not about reaching for the stars. A girl's worth is never just about getting married and having children. If you read more, you might discover how crucial women have been in driving historical progress. Not everyone can shape history, though. You kids are just brainwashed by those decadent foreign ideas online, always thinking you're so special. She turned to my mom again. Yao's mom, I told you before, you need to pay attention to your child's thoughts. Once they're brainwashed, it's really scary. I let out a cold laugh. Auntie, are you sure it's the internet brainwashing me, or are you brainwashing our whole family? What on earth are you saying, child? Her expression suddenly darkened. You come to my house for no reason and tell my mom that girls shouldn't marry far away, that girls shouldn't be ambitious, that girls should get married early. I just don't understand. Are you that desperate to control my life? You ungrateful child. I've watched you grow up. Isn't this me caring for you? I'm a very busy person. You know, if you were just some stranger on the street, why would I waste my time worrying about you? Since you're so busy, then please focus on your own affairs and stop coming to my house for no reason, I said coldly. Shin's mother opened her mouth wide, staring at me in shock, unable to speak for a moment. Fine, I'll leave. I'll never come to your house again. As she said this, she stood up, but her movements were slow and deliberate, clearly waiting for my mother to stop her. But I was quicker, grabbing my mother's hand first. Thank you, Auntie. Indeed, I'm about to enter my final year of high school, and I also want a quiet study environment. Shin's mother's face turned pale and then flushed. She paused before leaving, and turned back to my mother, saying bitterly, Yao's mom, you really need to discipline your child. 11 After Shin's mother left, my mother sighed. Why are you so worked up today? Actually, my parents have always been very open-minded. They're also very kind-hearted people, but kind people can sometimes be too trusting and get taken advantage of. I led my mom into the room and pointed to the row of journalism books on the bookshelf. Mom, you know, I've been really interested in journalism for a long time. The college entrance exam might not be the only chance to change the course of your life, but it's a very important choice. In the past, I was just following the crowd because everyone said that with a science track, you have more majors to choose from and better career prospects, but personally, I actually prefer the liberal arts. Mom, I made this decision after careful consideration and practical judgment. Although the second year of high school focuses mainly on science, I am interested in the liberal arts, and they are also part of the comprehensive exams. In fact, I haven't fallen behind in the broader content. I am confident that I can catch up on the liberal arts content over this summer break before the second year of high school. I truly want to transfer to the liberal arts class and strive toward my dream, aiming for Peking University. This decision may be a bit risky, but I am willing to give it my all and take the chance. My mom silently watched me for a while, then patted my shoulder. All right, she said, let's talk about it with your dad after I get back tonight. I hugged her tightly. Thank you, Mom. That evening, I had a long conversation with my parents. The next day, my mom took me to sign the papers at old Jang's place. It's quite ridiculous how students act out these days, and their parents just follow suit. He watched my mom sign the form with a sarcastic, mocking tone. Teacher Zhang, my mom said with a smile, as parents, we believe we should support our child's decisions and have faith in her, not pour cold water on her ideas. Walking out of the office, I felt incredibly happy and relieved. Maybe I won't ultimately succeed, but I had supportive parents and made the choice I truly wanted. 12. On the first day of senior year, I ran into Lu Shi at the entrance of the Humanities class. One didn't think you'd actually show up, he said with a raised eyebrow. Welcome. When Shinshin found out I was transferring to the liberal arts class, he was furious. Why didn't you even discuss it with me? I remained silent for a moment, then said, Shinshin, this is my personal decision. Besides my parents, I don't need to consult anyone. Fine, fine, he sneered. From now on, we're no longer friends. The school term began with a placement test, perhaps to put everyone on edge. The questions were set to be quite challenging. A week later, the results were announced, and I ranked 11th in the humanities class. The entire senior year teacher's office was in an uproar. When class advisor teacher Xian called me to the office, I happened to hear old Zhang yelling inside. It's impossible for her to score so high in liberal arts just after transferring. This girl has a very high self-esteem. She must have cheated to save face. We must investigate this thoroughly. I knocked on the door, and the sound inside abruptly stopped. When teacher Xian saw me, she immediately smiled and waved me over. Suju, your performance in this mock exam is excellent. I'd like to ask you, how did you manage to improve your liberal arts scores so quickly in such a short time? Hee. Lao Zhang sneered coldly from the side. I paused for a moment and said seriously, Teacher Xian, are there teachers who suspect I cheated? Teacher Xian, well, to be honest, since you just transferred from the science class and scored 11th in the grade, the teachers are honestly quite curious. I smiled. Teacher Xian, do you know how I spent my summer vacation during sophomore year? For the entire summer, I stayed home, with no entertainment at all. I bought review materials for liberal arts and passed college entrance examination, going through each knowledge point and solving each problem one by one, studying from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. every day. I can understand the teachers' curiosity, but I cannot accept their groundless suspicion that I cheated. Is it groundless suspicion? When something seems off, there's usually a reason. What evidence do you have to prove you didn't cheat? Old Zhang immediately retorted. There were invigilators and surveillance cameras in the exam room. Why didn't you, Teacher Zhang, ask the invigilators or check the surveillance footage, but instead questioned me based on your subjective assumption that I cheated? Look, Ms. Xian, just look at her. This is exactly what I mean. She just won't listen to authority. Old Zhang exclaimed heatedly. Being a student leader has gone to her head. She's so full of herself. You absolutely must call her parents. Yet, to his surprise, Ms. Xian paid him no mind. Su Yao, I believe in you. Keep up the good work. Old Zhang's eyes widened in disbelief. No, Ms. Xian, you're still young. You don't know how cunning this student has always been. You can't just encourage students to abandon their integrity for the sake of Class 1 arts grades, or for your own promotion to senior teacher. Mr. Zhang, speaking of integrity, Lu Shi, who was helping Ms. Xian organize the materials nearby, suddenly looked up. Have you perhaps forgotten something? What? Old Zhang was taken aback. Lu Shi opened his innocent and bright big eyes. That day, you said in the office that if Su Jiao transferred to the liberal arts class, you'd write your name backwards. Have you been writing your name backwards lately? The other teachers in the office were trying to stifle their laughter, and one of them couldn't help but laugh out loud. Teacher Zhang, Teacher Xian also smiled. You should stay out of our liberal arts class affairs. A minute later, Lu Shi and I left the office one after the other. Su Jiao, I turned around. You seem quite interesting. He stuffed his hands in his pockets. I've always found school pretty dull, and there's never been much competition, but honestly, I'm starting to look forward to it now. Look forward to what? I wondered. He smiled. I look forward to the day we meet again at the Summit. 13. After that, my life became an endless cycle of nothing but studying. News from the science class would occasionally reach me. like how Han Chichi was pursuing Shin Chen with relentless intensity. Perhaps my departure was the reason she made her move earlier in this life than in the last, but this life is different from the last. In my previous life, with me as a contrast, Han Chichi became the warm refuge Shin Chen sought to escape his marriage. In this life, I've already moved to the liberal arts class, and Han Chichi's fervent pursuit as a poor student will only embarrass Shin Chen. He has neither the time nor the patience to help her improve her grades, and the warmth of love and the opposite sex are not necessities under the intense pressure of senior year. Han Chichi had once again become the laughingstock of the entire grade, but I never expected that she would take out Shin Chen's coldness toward her on me. For the past 2 weeks, the girls sitting to my left have been talking loudly. Whenever I try to study, they're the same girls who used to bully Han Chichi, and now it seems their target has shifted to me. I once saw Han Chichi and the others walking together mysteriously after school. Now each of them is wearing a delicate lady's watch on their wrist. During a break, these girls, seemingly under some instruction, cornered me in a bathroom stall and dumped a bucket of cold water on me, soaking me from head to toe. Justice delayed is not justice denied, one of the girls laughed. Merrily, I stood silently in the bathroom stall, waited for the door to be opened from the outside, borrowed a towel, and went to find the school nurse to dry my clothes. Then I walked back to the bathroom sink, picked up a nearby bucket, and filled it to the brim with water. When I carried the bucket into the classroom, those girls were chatting and laughing merrily. I walked over, lifted the bucket, and dumped the entire thing of water on them. "Ah," they screamed, "is that all you've got?" I smiled. "My apologies, but I'm the type who returns a drop of kindness with a flood." "You're insane," they yelled. "We're telling the teacher." "I'm the one who should be telling the teacher," I sneered. "What era do you think this is? Still playing these pathetic bullying games? Don't even think about sitting here," one of the girls shouted. "I'm going to mess with you. I just can't stand you. You're not the student council president this semester anymore, so stop acting like such a big shot. We're not afraid of you. Everyone in the grade knows about it. You shameless cheater. What are you trying to prove?" "Shut up," a voice suddenly came from the back of the classroom. The entire class fell silent. Lu Shi lazily sat up and walked over, asking, "You don't want her to sit here?" A girl wiped the water from her forehead and replied, "Yeah, she bullies us. And Lu Shi, you know she's a cheater, right? We don't want to sit with someone of bad character." After saying this, several people had expressions of anticipation, eager to see what would happen next. "Oh," Lu Shi nodded, then turned to me and said, "Actually, I also think the learning environment here isn't great. After all, birds of a feather flock together. You don't need to prove yourself unstained by the mud during such an important time in your senior year. How about considering being my desk mate?" Huh, I was stunned, and so were the other girls. After all, I'd heard the stories on my very first day in this class. Lu Shi was the whole package, top grades, handsome, but with a razor-sharp tongue. There had been girls before who tried to sit next to him, using questions as an excuse to get close, but without fail, his brutal sarcasm would reduce them to tears in no time. Over time, no one dared approach him anymore, and the seat beside him remained permanently empty. This must be the first time the top student has ever asked someone to be his desk mate. Only a fool would say no. "Sure," I nodded. "Let's go." He picked up my school bag for me, and just like that, the two of us moved my desk next to his, right under the watchful eyes of the entire class. 14. Of course, given the personalities of Han Chichi and those other girls, they probably wouldn't just let this go. To avoid any complications at this critical time, just as I was debating whether to ask my dad to pick me up after evening self-study from now on, Lu Shi suddenly spoke up. When I was helping Ms. Xian organize her materials, "I saw your address. You live at 15 Feng Street, right?" I nodded. "I live just one street behind you." "Evening self study is going until 9 starting next week. Would you like to walk home together?" "That would be perfect. By the way, you ranked 11th in the last monthly exam, right?" "Yeah, 11th place won't get you into Kyoto University." He tossed over a notebook of incorrect problems. "I don't look at the problems here anymore, but you can use it for reference if you want." Just then, the bell rang for the end of self-study period. He stood up, grabbed his basketball, and headed out. Lu Shi, he turned his head. "I've heard people say, you're not usually one to meddle in other people's business." "True, but you don't count as other people anymore," he said lazily. "What?" A faint smile played on his lips. "I'll be counting on your guidance from now on." Deskmate 15. A top student's error log is more valuable than any other study guide. For the next month, I threw myself into my studies with even greater determination, meticulously summarizing problem-solving strategies and methods. In the first monthly exam of my senior year, I surged to 8th place in my grade. The rumors about me cheating on the placement exam evaporated on their own. Meanwhile, my relationship with Lu Shi gradually grew closer and more familiar. This year's municipal awards results were announced. Although Class 1, Science, didn't nominate me for the 3 Good Student title, the Student Affairs Office teachers put me forward for Outstanding Student Cadre, and I received the honor as expected. Rumor has it that when the results came out, old Zhang smashed his outstanding teacher mug in the office. After the National Day holiday, the school held its autumn sports meet. On my way to fetch water, I suddenly spotted old Zhang and Han Qiqi acting furtively with a man behind the teaching building. After a moment's thought, I quietly slipped into an empty classroom on the first floor, crouched beneath the window, and pressed the record button on my phone. Mr. Zhang, given Qiqi's current grades, it's difficult for her to get into a top-tier university here. Like we discussed last time, we were wondering if you could inflate her usual assessment scores a bit. That would make her application to overseas universities look stronger. Understood. Rigging the Gaokao is far too difficult these days, but I can certainly help with tweaking her usual grades. Thank you so much. The tutors we've tried from outside just haven't been up to par. It would be best if we could arrange for a few top students to give her some extra tutoring. If her college entrance exam scores can improve, that would be ideal. As for that previous one, that Suyao from before was so disobedient, don't even get me started. I've already had her transferred to the liberal arts class. I'll pick another candidate. That girl is always causing trouble for my daughter. Don't worry, I'll find an opportunity later to deal with her. Giving her a disciplinary record or something like that won't be difficult at all. Alright, please take this. Watch. I really feel bad about always making Mr. Han spend money. It's nothing, really nothing. After the footsteps outside faded away, my palms were sweaty. I stood up and had just reached the classroom door when I heard a voice listening in so brazenly. Aren't you afraid of being seen? My hair stood on end. I looked up and saw Lu Shi. You scared me to death. What are you doing here? I widened my eyes. You're asking me. He was at a loss between laughter and tears. If you want to be an undercover reporter, you should at least learn the basics first. You didn't even close the classroom door and just squatted by the wall so openly. Are you afraid that passersby won't notice? Huh? I opened my mouth. Then, did anyone see? Idiot, of course not. He folded his arms across his chest. I've been standing guard here the whole time. 16. The next day, just before the whole school's morning exercises, the broadcast system suddenly played a strange recording. The protagonist of the recording was Zhang Jiang, the homeroom teacher of Class 1, Grade 12, Science, and the parent of Han Qiqi. Lu Shi, the head of the broadcasting station, called it a live broadcast accident. He received a mysterious voice recorder, shrugged, and intended to listen to its contents together with everyone, but didn't realize the microphone was still on. Lao Zhang was suspended and lost all eligibility for awards and commendations. This recording went viral within an hour after some students recorded it and posted it online. Netizens, each playing the role of Sherlock Holmes, not only accused him of favoring wealthy students in the past, but also dug up every detail about Han Qiqi's family. Isn't this the place that sells fake watches? I also bought a fake watch from them, claiming it was second-hand, but it was all fake. Someone reported the Han family's company, leading to a police investigation. It was discovered that the Hans were not only involved in counterfeiting and selling fake goods but also suspected of money laundering. The school began investigating whether Han Qiqi was running a bullying group. When they questioned the girls involved, they cried and said Han Qiqi had given them luxury watches, instructing them to bully me. Han Qiqi became a pariah at school and soon dropped out. The saddest part was old Zhang, who daily admired the watch he wore, only to discover in the end that it was fake. 17. The afternoon after Han Qiqi dropped out of school, I saw Shen Chen at the entrance of our residential building. He said to me, I'm sorry, I had no idea she was always so malicious, always trying to target you. I actually grew to dislike her too. He nervously twisted his hands. I'm sorry, Yao Yao, let's make up, okay. As he said this, he was holding a bottle of strawberry milk, my favorite drink in the past. But as I looked at that bottle, a memory from my past life flashed before me. I had returned from a business trip a day early, only to find the strawberry milk that should have been in the fridge left on the table, its rim stained with a suggestive lipstick mark. The bedroom and bathroom were filled with an indescribable scent, a clear sign that the two of them, in their rush to get to work after their intimate moment, hadn't bothered to clean up since my rebirth. I've never touched strawberry milk again. A wave of nausea hit me all at once. I turned my head and couldn't help but vomit. Shin Chen was terrified and quickly came over to pat my back, but I stopped him. Sorry. I'm trying to calm down. I don't like this milk anymore. Then should I get another one? He stammered. I shook my head. It can't be changed, nor can we go back, Shin-chen. I forced a smile. We should probably avoid meeting for now. I wish you success in your college entrance exam and all the best. Is it because of Lu Shi? He blurted out. What? You have a crush on Lu Shi, don't you? That's why you followed him to the humanities class. Now you sit together and walk home together. Isn't that right? His voice rose. Shin-chen, Lu Shi and I are just classmates, I've told you. All I want right now is to focus on my studies. He let out a cold laugh. Childhood friends never stand a chance against new love, do they? He tossed the strawberry milk aside. I never expected you to be this kind of person. Many girls like Lu Shi. He's not a good choice. His face darkened. Su Jiao, if you don't choose me, one day you'll regret it. 18. After that, when Shin-chen saw me again, it was as if I were a complete stranger. He seemed to be competing, fully immersed in intense studying. With his monthly exam scores getting better and better, Shin's mother couldn't help but boast about it around the neighborhood more than once. With results like these, he can pretty much pick any top 985 university in the country by the end of the first semester. My grades had settled firmly into second place in my year. The second semester flew by. After the first, second, and third mock exams, May passed, and the June college entrance exam was upon us. I felt I had performed well. After the exam, Lu Shi and I briefly compared answers, giving me a pretty good estimate of my score. Getting into Peking University shouldn't be a problem for either of us. The same was true after the results came out. As expected, Lu Shi came first in the city, while I ranked 8th. Both of us received phone calls with offers from several universities. I applied for the journalism program at Jing University, and Lu Shi applied for their history program. I heard Shin-chen also did well, getting into the best local 985 university, which was a significant step up from the school he attended in his previous life. But I heard he fell ill right after the college entrance exam, and even the application process was handled entirely by his mother. As luck would have it, my graduation banquet and Shin-chen's were scheduled on the same day at the same restaurant. Shin-chen and his mother stood at the entrance of the banquet hall across from us. His mother was beaming with joy, while Shin-chen hadn't even shaved and looked rather listless. Oh, choosing a major is more important than choosing a school. I carefully selected Shin-chen's major. Studying finance is the way to make big money in the future. While saying this, his mother glanced over at us, as if to imply that the two students from their school who got into Peking University this year, majoring in journalism and history, might attend the best university in the country, but they'll struggle to find jobs later on. My mom was about to go up and fight her, but I quickly stopped her. What kind of person is she? I was friends with her for so many years, and can any other school compare to Jing University? Don't bother with her. I patted my mom's back to calm her down. Let me tell you, with someone like Xiaochen, girls will be lining up to date him in the future. I'm already worried about how to choose a daughter-in-law, Mrs. Shin continued. At the height of her excitement, she tugged at Shin-chen. Xiaochen, didn't I tell you to bring the admission letter? Hurry up and show it to your aunts. Shin-chen shook his head, and his gaze suddenly met mine from across the room. For some reason, his eyes were filled with sorrow. Why are you shaking your head? Shin's mother grabbed Shin-chen's bag, but she fumbled it, causing everything inside to spill out. An old lady enthusiastically helped pick up the scattered items on the ground. Oh my, is this an admission notice? What does it say? Azoospermia. This, huh? Immediately, several people gathered around. One of them, covering her mouth in shock, exclaimed, "Oh, Xiaochen, you can't have children. That's going to make it tough to find a partner in the future." What are you talking nonsense about, Mrs. Shin snatched the medical report. This, she turned around in disbelief. Xiaochen, what is this? When did you get this checkup? Oh, it's a misunderstanding. She quickly explained to everyone. It's fake, made by the kid himself. It's not a lie. Shin-chen suddenly said, I have azoospermia. I can't have children. What are you talking nonsense about? Shin's mother smacked him on the back in anger. Get inside now. Shin-chen gave a self-deprecating smile, walking out without looking back amidst his mother's shouts. 19. It suddenly hit me. Shin-chen. I ran after him. He turned around, his eyes brimming with tears, his voice hoarse. Yao Yao, you remember our past life too, don't you? I said quietly. He didn't answer. Instead, he suddenly rushed forward and held me in a tight embrace. I had a very long dream. Tears streamed down his face as he spoke incoherently. In the dream, I betrayed you. I thought she and I had a child, but the child wasn't mine. She pushed you down the stairs, and I didn't go to save you right away. Later, I found out the child wasn't mine. We argued, and she stabbed me with a pair of scissors, so that's how it was. Shin-chan in my past life never went for a checkup, but actually, I did go for a checkup. The results showed I had no fertility issues, but before I could tell Shin-chan, I discovered his affair with Han Chi-chi. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Yao Yao, but it was just a dream, wasn't it? He was sobbing uncontrollably. I would never do that to you. I would never do that to you. We still have a chance. Everything can still be fixed. This time, let's do it right, okay? Let's really make it work. I gently pushed him away. Shin-chan, you and I both know it wasn't just some passing dream. The bleeding was real, the pain was real, all of it was the genuine suffering I experienced. If you were still the Shin-chan who knew nothing and remembered nothing, perhaps we could still be ordinary classmates or friends, but now that you've remembered, we can't even be ordinary classmates anymore. I don't want to bring the hatred of my past life into this one. Being strangers is my final limit. I hope you become a better person in this life. I may be cold-hearted, but I don't pity him if he truly had the ability to have children, and if that child was really his, in the previous life, he would have been happily together with Han Chi-chi. I suppose never expect to trade your suffering, or even your life, for a man's grudging regret in the face of a life brimming with unknown wonders and beauty. This belated pity and regret are utterly worthless. 20 That night, Mrs. Shin cried and carried on at home for a long time, and the whole building could hear her. At 9 o'clock that evening, a small stone was suddenly thrown against the windowpane of my room. I opened the window and looked down. It was actually Lu Shi. He was standing under the streetlight, holding a small bouquet of flowers, looking just like a prince from a fairy tale. I quickly changed my clothes and hurried downstairs. Why didn't you just text me? I laughed. Who knocks on windows to get someone's attention these days? Just wanted to give it a try, to see if you could hear me. He shrugged. They exchanged a smile. I'm going on a trip with my parents tomorrow, so I guess the next time we meet will be at Jingda University. I nodded. Yeah, this flower is. He cleared his throat lightly. This flower is called Alstroemeria. I just happened to pass by a flower shop and saw it. I thought the flower language suited you, so I bought it on the way. He handed the flower to me. I don't think I ever congratulated you on getting into Tsinghua University. Same to you. I smiled and took it. Well, let's head up early. See you at Jing University. Yeah, see you at Jing University. Watching Lu Shi's retreating figure, I suddenly remembered what was just said. He said the meaning of the Alstroemeria suited me perfectly, but he never told me what it was. I picked up my phone and typed it in. The answer popped up almost instantly. The meaning of the Alstroemeria: friendship, looking forward to reuniting, and new beginnings. 21 In September, I reported to the journalism department at Jing University. The senior professor gave us our first lecture. If any of you are hoping to make a fortune in the future, it's not too late to apply for the major transfer exam now, he said with a smile. As a journalist, one must always keep in mind the sense of social responsibility. Studying journalism requires mastering a wide range of skills: interviews, writing, layout, video production. I'm busy to the point of being overwhelmed, and Lu Shuri is also extremely busy. He remained a prominent figure on campus, a dazzling presence even among the exceptional talent pool at Peking University. Some girls in my class, upon learning we were high school classmates, even asked if I could introduce them. I eagerly went to ask Lu Shi, but he flatly refused. Why not meet her? She's a really nice girl. Not interested in getting to know anyone. Many girls are asking what kind of girlfriend you're looking for. He didn't even look up. Not interested in finding one. Why? I'm puzzled. You haven't found anyone either, have you? He said. That's only because I've been too busy. Same here, he said, closing his book. I've been busy too, and so it was, all the way until his senior year. Lu Shi never got a girlfriend. Some girls started to suspect his orientation and subtly asked me if he liked men. I thought about it and, probably not. That must mean he likes you, they said. Seriously, besides you, I haven't seen Lu Shin get close to any other woman. After graduating from my senior year, I received an offer from a prestigious foreign university for a master's in journalism, while Lu Shuri stayed to pursue a direct PhD. On the day I left Beijing, he came to the airport to see me off. At the moment of parting, a strong emotion suddenly surged within me. I actually knew being busy with studies and having no time for a relationship are just excuses of my own. It's just that I was hurt too deeply in a past life, and I've been too afraid to take that step again. But what if it's this person right in front of me? Maybe I could give it a try. I pinched my palm and suddenly looked up. Lu Shi, I looked into his beautiful eyes and asked, word by word, do you like me? He was stunned, then smiled. Yao Yao, you know, why can TV dramas be made into 100 episodes? What? Because they never say what they mean directly. If you're so straightforward, What's the point of writing the story? Stop talking nonsense, I'm getting impatient. Do you like it or not? If not, forget it. Hey, are you already mad? He laughed and pulled me back, saying he just felt a bit sorry. I had actually already bought a ticket for the next flight. I was going to surprise you once I got there. Huh, what did he say? I'd been waiting all this time, waiting for the day you'd be ready for a relationship. Then, from inside his coat, he took out a beautifully pressed Alstroemeria bookmark. At the same time, I heard that charming, melodious voice. He said, I love you. 22. I was in a long-distance relationship with Lu Shi for 3 years. 3 years later, I returned to my home country and became a social news reporter. 2 years later, Lu Shi graduated with a PhD, stayed at the university to teach, and was promoted to associate professor within less than 2 years. I have always stayed true to the original intention of a journalist, striving for truth in every piece of news, and have been actively engaged in the career I love, earning several industry honors. Lu Shi, as a guest on a history program, captivated audiences with his eloquent and witty remarks. He was dubbed History God Lu by netizens and hailed as the new silver-tongued orator of Peking University. Back when I first transferred to the humanities track, he told me he looked forward to the day we'd meet at the summit. Years later, we each stood atop the peaks of our respective fields, constantly gazing toward new horizons and scaling one summit after another. One more year passed, and we got married. It's college entrance exam season once again, and our old high school invited the two of us back to give a speech. Coincidentally, while I was waiting on the roadside for Lu Shi, who was buying water, I unexpectedly ran into Shen Chen. He was holding a child by the hand. When he saw me, he walked over. I always see you on TV and online. He smiled. You must have had a good life these years. I nodded. I've been teaching in remote mountain areas these years, and this is my adopted child, he said. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, he left with the child. At this moment, Lu Shi returned, squinting at the distant figure. Shen Chen. What's he doing here? Looking for you, I chuckled. It was just a chance encounter. How could Professor Lu be jealous of such an old grudge? He gave a soft humph. By the way, I tugged at his sleeve. I remember you once bought me a bouquet of Alstroemeria. Was it from that flower shop over there? He looked at me and muttered under his breath. You really are clueless, aren't you? Do you think a little flower shop like this would carry such a niche variety? Huh, I had to order that online specially. I checked several stores. It was really hard to find. I blinked. Wow, Lu Shi, don't tell me you had a crush on me back then. To my surprise, he actually blushed and tightened his grip on my hand, looking all fierce. Anyway, let's hurry up, or we'll be late. Oh my god, now that he's married, he actually blushes. It's so unlike the aloof and unapproachable Professor Lu from his school days. It was only after they returned to the school that I found out I had been something of a legend at my old high school all these years. After the speech, the school asked us to write some words of encouragement for this year's exam candidates. I thought it over, and wrote down these words. Passion fuels the fire within. Believe in yourself. I'll see you at the summit. End story 2. 1 week before my wedding to Jiang Hanzhou, I found dozens of gigabytes of videos on his USB drive. For 7 consecutive years, his so-called business trips, a fixed week each month, were actually spent caring for his wounded former love. From her deep coma to her recovery and rehabilitation, Jiang Hanzhou attended to every detail himself, finding profound satisfaction in it. I lay awake all night, unable to comprehend what I had been to him for those 7 years. But after I ran away from the wedding, Jiang Hanzhou, who always prized his dignity above all, completely lost his mind. Mom, Dad, I don't want to get married anymore. I miss you. I want to go abroad to be with you. My father's tone turned serious in an instant. What's going on? Everything was fine. Your wedding is in just a few days. Are you absolutely sure about this? Dad, I've changed my mind. I'm not going through with the wedding. A sudden lump formed in my throat, afraid my parents would ask more questions. I hung up right after saying it. The hundreds of videos exported from the USB drive made my head spin. Jiang Hanzhou and I have been living together since we got engaged 3 years ago. Today is a big day for him. He's meeting with a major client. Just half an hour later, he called to say he'd brought the wrong USB drive and asked me to bring him the right one. Seeing 2 identical USB drives in the drawer, I decided to try them both. The USB drive with a slight metallic sheen didn't contain company files. It documented how Jiang Hanzhou cared for the girl, nursing her from a deep coma back to full health, a full 7 years, spanning the entire length of our relationship. In all that time, he never once agreed to take a photo with me, let alone document any moments of our romance. I made a scene and cried, but he only said that since I was right there, Why bother with these unnecessary things? Now it seems that I was the one being unnecessary after all. My fingers trembled so much that I could barely hold the mouse. Accidentally, one of the videos started playing. The girl rose from her wheelchair and rushed into Jeon Hanjo's arms. After a deeply passionate kiss, a line of love words appeared on the video. Only you, only ever you, Jeon Hanjo gently kissed the corner of her eye. Like a devout believer, I recognized her instantly as Shinshi, Jeon Hanjo's unrequited first love. I used to think Jeon Hanjo had a straightforward, unromantic way of thinking and wasn't good at saying sweet nothings. It turns out, he just didn't want to say them to me. The shirt crumpled by Shinshi's grip was the one I had ironed countless times. There are hundreds more videos like this, each one annotated with the date and Shinshi's physical condition. I skimmed through them briefly. The first video was from when I had just met Jeon Hanjo on a blind date. At that time, Shinshi was still unconscious. He was sitting by the bed, muttering to himself, "As long as it's not you, what does it matter who I marry?" A tone of finality, detached from it all. No wonder we made it official so quickly after that blind date. I thought my decade-long secret crush had finally paid off, only to realize I was just another option for him. That one simple sentence made me feel like a complete fool. A nameless fire in my chest burned, making my eyes sting and my heart ache. I finished copying the video and put the USB drive back in its place. Just then, Jeon Hanjo's call came through, and I answered it almost instinctively. "Did you find it? Send it to me, quick." The moment the call ended, I heard a woman's voice. "Hanjo, I don't feel well." It was the same voice I had just heard countless times in the video. The air around me seemed to have been sucked away, leaving me struggling to breathe. After booking the flight, I retreated into the shadows as if that could hide my wretched state from the world. I don't know how much time passed before a flurry of chaotic footsteps sounded outside the door. Peering through the peephole, I saw Jeon Hanjo's friend and Shinshi supporting him as they approached. "Brother, we're here. Your wife is waiting for you at home, so we'll head back now." Jeon Hanjo's face showed a hint of confusion, yet he still held on to Shinshi's hand, not letting her go. "What do you mean your wife? Isn't your wife she?" His friend quickly covered his mouth. "This is your in Xiaoran's wedding house. You're getting married in 2 days. You can't say that here." Jeon Hanjo wouldn't listen. No matter what, he wouldn't let go until Shinshi said it hurt. But the next second, he suddenly hugged Shinshi's waist and affectionately rubbed his face. In the past, I would have screamed hysterically. I would have demanded to know why Jeon Hanjo was treating me this way, but now, I simply opened the door and stared coldly, held in his arms. Shinshi was only surprised for a moment before looking at me with a beaming smile. Jeon Hanjo's friend hurriedly pulled away the drunk person. "Sister-in-law, don't misunderstand. Brother Jeon just mistook you for someone else." I looked at Shinshi, nodding expressionlessly. Jeon Hanjo's friends began introducing us to each other. When the wedding in 7 days was mentioned, Jeon Hanjo, already half drunk, suddenly shouted, "It's all a lie, all of it." In that instant, it felt like a knife had been plunged into my heart. My vision went dark, and I could barely keep my footing. Jeon Hanjo's friend was the first to change expression, looking at me in confusion. I always knew Jeon Hanjo didn't like to talk about our marriage. I realized long ago that he married me not out of love, but because he only mentioned it as a family alliance and invited only business partners to the wedding. I thought 7 years of companionship would eventually warm his heart. Unaware that his heart had already been given to someone else, I pinched my palm to keep myself from losing composure. I'm just his roommate. You can help him in." I ignored the 2 people behind me with varying expressions and opened the door to let them in. Jeon Hanjo was helped into the bedroom. Shinshi had just laid Jeon Hanjo down and was about to get up, yet Jeon Hanjo, who had long since fallen into a deep sleep, suddenly reached out and grabbed the hem of her clothes. "Cece, you're afraid of the dark. I need to walk you home." Shinshi took a step back, smiling indulgently at the half-asleep person. "Silly, I'm not a child anymore. Your friend is seeing me off, so don't worry." The unpleasant memories of the past suddenly surfaced. The long-healed wound was torn open again. Jeon Hanjo knew I had night blindness, yet he still left me alone on the road in the middle of the night just because we had just had a fight. He wanted to use this to teach me a lesson. Without my phone, I panicked and took a wrong turn, falling down a slope and getting 10 stitches. I once angrily proposed breaking up, but I was thrown into chaos the moment he agreed. I tried to convince myself that maybe my temper really was too bad, and that's why he treated me that way. But it's clear he is capable of caring for someone that deeply. It's just that someone wasn't me. As if I hadn't heard a thing, I saw Jeon Hanjo's friend and Shinshi to the door just as I was about to close the door. Shinshi suddenly turned back. "When Hanjo took my place drinking tonight, he accidentally got his shirt wet. remember to change it for him when you get home, or he might catch a cold. Hand wash the shirt and add some jasmine-scented laundry pearls. He'll like that." Her tone was gentle, like that of a devoted wife. I clenched my teeth and forced myself to stay calm. Raising my hand to close the door, she spoke up again. "By the way, I'm now Hanjo's assistant, providing close support. If you want to know his future schedule, you can contact me. Hanjo has been quite busy with social engagements lately. Since you're living together, you'll have to bear with it a bit more. He might come back late at night and disturb you." After saying that, she seemed a bit shy, pursed her lips in a light smile, and then handed me her business card. I dug my fingertips into my palm, suppressing the tremor in my hands, and reached out to take it. A simple line drawing of a man and a woman embracing was printed on the back of the business card. At a glance, I recognized it as Jiang Hanzhou and Shinshi. I had no idea that Jiang Corporation's business cards held such a secret, nor did I expect that Jiang Hanzhou's love for her had already permeated his very bones. The moment the door closed behind them, my tears fell in a steady stream. Before I met Shinshi, I thought I could still compete with her. 7 years of devotion should have earned me some place in Jiang Hanzhou's heart, but after meeting her, I realized just how completely I had lost. I had just taken off Jiang Hanzhou's shirt. His phone then chimed repeatedly with a distinct notification tone. It was Shinshi, letting him know she had arrived home safely. I glanced at it briefly, with no intention of replying on his behalf. Suddenly, I caught a glimpse of their previous chat history. "Cece, you know, my heart belongs only to you, so please don't come on our wedding day, okay? I'm afraid I might run away from the altar." "But isn't this unfair to Qiao Ran? After all, she has been by your side in my place for years." "Silly, you're just too kind-hearted." Giving her the position of Mrs. Jiang was already my limit. She shouldn't be greedy for more. I desperately wanted to shake him awake and demand to know what he really thought of me. But when I saw Jiang Hanzhou's eyelids flutter, as if he were about to wake up, I turned to flee. But my legs felt as heavy as lead. Seeing the signs that Jiang Hanzhou was waking, I covered my mouth and shuffled toward the bathroom in a flurry. It felt like a blade had grazed my arm. Ignoring the searing pain of the wound, I hid in the room, covering my mouth as I wept. I opened the family group chat. My fingers paused midair over the keyboard, unsure of how to begin. "It means in Jiang Hanzhou's eyes, I'm just his utilitarian wife, or am I just a substitute for his first love?" After a while, I put down my phone. The heart that beat for Jiang Hanzhou suddenly stopped. Now that the truth is known, this wedding will be a surprise for Jiang Hanzhou. I'm curious to see how Jiang Hanzhou would react if I were the one to flee the wedding in front of those business partners. Having tidied up my disheveled appearance, I walked out of the bathroom. Jiang Hanzhou is much more sober now and has already sat up on his own. He frowned and questioned me when he saw me cleaning the suitcase. "What are you cleaning that for? Are you going on a trip?" "Don't tell me you're thinking about going on a honeymoon after we get married." "I've told you, I'm too busy for these pointless things." I put the suitcase back in its place and spoke calmly. I know, it's to accompany my parents." He didn't ask much, not just about me, but he didn't care about my family either. Only when I went to the bathroom did I suddenly notice the jasmine-scented laundry detergent on the shelf. His face darkened, and anger surged in his eyes. "Who told you to use this fragrance to wash the clothes? If you don't know how to do it, then don't. Stop acting so high and mighty." He kicked the bathroom door, making it bang loudly, and irritably shoved me out of the bedroom. If I remember correctly, in the video, Jiang Hanzhou loved nothing more than to bury his face in Shinshi's shoulder and take a gentle sniff. "The jasmine scent on you makes my heart flutter. Just because I'm not the one he loves, even the things I do have become unlikable." For several days in a row, Jiang Hanzhou left early and returned late, ignoring me. When he saw me in the past, I would start to reflect on what I had done wrong again. After seeing Shinshi, I clearly understood that his lack of love for me was my greatest sin. It wasn't until the day before the wedding, when the MC contacted us for a rehearsal, that he spoke to me for the first time in days. "Just go through the motions quickly for the rehearsal. I have something else to do later, so hurry up." My hand paused as I was tidying up my clothes. "All right, I'll play along. I know exactly where he's headed." They'd arranged it days ago. Today, they were going to revisit the spot of their first date. I didn't want to cause a scene and embarrass us both. "It's just one more day. I can hold out." I knew today would be over soon, so I made a special appointment with a friend for a final farewell. When we arrived at the venue, the host briefly explained the procedure to us, but Jiang Hanzhou seemed distracted. After a poorly executed process, his patience seemed to be running out. It wasn't until Shinshi suddenly appeared at the venue that the gloomy expression on his face instantly turned into a smile. Before the MC could finish listing the things to pay attention to, his figure appeared in front of Shinshi in the next second with the sympathy in the MC's eyes. I waved my hand and forced a smile. Thank you for your hard work. Let's stop the rehearsal here. He'll be more careful tomorrow. Even though I knew this wedding was fake, seeing the two of them standing there so deeply in love, my heart couldn't help but tremble. There's an urgent matter at the company. I hope I'm not disturbing you, right? I didn't expect Shinshi to come over and greet me on her own. Jiang Hanzhou stood behind her like a protector. His eyes were fixed on me, as if he was afraid I might say something to hurt Shinshi. It's fine, you guys go ahead if you're busy. I also have an appointment. Jiang Hanzhou looked at me in surprise given how much I value weddings. There's no way I would let him go so easily. I nodded at them and turned to leave the venue. From behind me came the faint sound of Jiang Hanzhou's coaxing words. Don't worry, this is all fake. The wedding I give you would never be this shabby. When I got home, Jiang Hanzhou had already arrived before me. The house had been tidied up. The moment I stepped inside, he peeked out from the living room to look at me. Is something bothering you? I haven't seen you tidy up the house. And you don't seem as caring towards me as you used to. You've changed a lot lately. I paused as I was bending down to change my shoes. Have I changed? If I hadn't seen those videos, I would still be trying my best to be a good Mrs. Jiang right now. Seeing the brief flicker of worry in his eyes, I shook my head. It must have been my imagination. No, it's just that there's so much to do for the wedding. I'm a bit tired. After saying that, I prepared to go to the bedroom to wash up and rest. Unexpectedly, he suddenly grabbed my arm, right where I had been cut a few days ago. The wound was torn open, and he hurriedly fetched some ointment. I never thought I would one day see Jiang Hanzhou's worried expression for me, but he's the one who caused this injury. What right does he have to worry about me? I dodged his touch. Jiang Hanzhou's pupils constricted, and he hastily produced a rose from behind him. It was my oversight regarding the rehearsal. I didn't expect the client to need me. Shinshi didn't mean to interrupt our rehearsal either. I'll be more careful at tomorrow's wedding, so don't worry. I didn't respond to the wedding matter, only glancing at the rose in his hand. I told you, I'm allergic to rose pollen, so we replaced all the roses at the wedding venue with lilies and moth orchids. I personally handled all the wedding decorations, working tirelessly for a month, filled with anticipation for the future. He doesn't care, so naturally, he didn't pay any attention. The person who always acted arrogantly in front of me had their pride repeatedly deflated. Jiang Hanzhou immediately turned cold and went to the guest bedroom. Soon, the bedroom was filled with the sounds of a movie and laughter. Thinking about how Jiang Hanzhou frequently claimed to be on business trips, making every excuse not to video call me, my heart grew even colder. Thankfully, the wedding is tomorrow. It's all coming to an end. At 4 in the morning, the makeup artist arrived to get me ready. The person who was in the side bedroom is now gone without a trace. I don't know when they left. I deftly navigated to Shinshi's social media account and, sure enough, spotted Jiang Hanzhou in the posts. Does loving someone always make you possessive? After a sleepless night, I came down with a fever. No surprise there. It wasn't the first day she'd known Jiang Hanzhou wanted to marry me. Even if it was just in name, she refused to step aside. I stopped the makeup artist from styling my hair into an elaborate updo, instructing them to just leave the wedding gown in the bedroom. Before departing, I dragged out the luggage I had already packed. By the time I had cleared out all the items related to me in the house, it was already 6 in the morning. Jiang Hanzhou still hadn't returned. A text message popped up, stopping me from opening the door to leave. Something urgent came up at work. I'll be there a bit late. He probably forgot. The company gave him the day off today because it's his wedding day. The only emergency he could possibly have is worrying about Shinshi. The morning light filtered in through the cracks. I closed the door and headed straight for the airport. Looks like the only ones who'll show up on time for this wedding today are the business associates at the venue. At the moment I was about to board the plane, I stared at Jiang Hanzhou's profile picture. An absurd thought flashed through my mind for no reason at all. Does he really not have even a shred of affection for me? Her finger accidentally hit the voice call button, and it was hung up after just 1 second. Then, 2 messages came through. Stop rushing. Will it kill you if the wedding starts a little later? Cece is running a high fever and can't be left alone. Just say you have a stomachache and ask the host to delay the start. Love and indifference are so clear-cut. I completely let go, left a sentence behind, and resolutely boarded the plane. I don't want the position of Mrs. Jiang anymore. And I don't want you either. After sending that message, I didn't forget to block all of Hanzhou Jiang's contact information. The plane took off swiftly, and I was seated among the clouds, yet a hollow feeling settled in my heart. It was like a favorite dish I had loved for years suddenly losing all its flavor. Even though I knew it made me sick to my stomach, my body found it hard to quit. Stepping off the plane, I was surrounded by an unfamiliar environment and faces I had never seen before. No one here knows about my past. As if I were a brand new Chow Ran, I took out my phone to send a message to my parents, and as soon as I turned off airplane mode, my phone flooded with messages. Before I could even look through them, the MC suddenly called, "Miss Chiao, hello, did something unexpected happen with you and Mr. Jiang? We've been unable to reach you for 4 hours, due to your absence. Most of the guests have left. Should we reschedule the wedding? It's fine, no need. The final payment was made last night. Please convey my thanks to the staff on site. Consider tonight's banquet as a reward for your hard work." I didn't expect that Jiang Hanzhou would also run away from the wedding. I guess he just couldn't bear to see his beloved suffer even the slightest. I brushed aside the barely noticeable pang in my heart and sent a message to the paparazzi at the venue. What a shame. I even hired someone on site to capture Jiang Hanzhou's disgraceful moment since he didn't show up. All those surprises I prepared for him were wasted, but at least it allows me to give Mr. and Mrs. Jiang a proper account, so their past kindness towards me wasn't in vain. I sent over the partial video footage I had copied from the USB drive back then. I received a reply from the other side in the next second. Ran, it's our fault, and it's also our Jiang family's misfortune. I thought they would be angry or curse, but I never expected an apology. Yes, Jiang Hanzhou and I were well matched in status, and equally gifted in looks and talent. Even Jiang's parents were very pleased with me, but Jiang Hanzhou always said I had a spoiled rich girl attitude and a willful personality. To please him, I tried to rein in my sharp edges and become a dignified and virtuous wife, yet he still wasn't satisfied, calling me dull and wooden. Only now do I understand that when there's no love, everything you see becomes a flaw. After today, I won't compromise my own happiness anymore. Mrs. Jiang shared many heartfelt words with me, and to my surprise, she even told me a secret about Shinshi. Thank you, Auntie. Even though I cannot become your daughter-in-law, you will always be the elder I respect the most. What kind of talk is that? Missing you is Hanzhou's misfortune. He's too close to the situation to see clearly, even his own heart. He was furious when he couldn't reach you just now. After hanging up the phone, I got into the car sent by my parents. Throughout the journey, my phone kept ringing. Upon closer inspection, most of the calls were from Jiang Hanzhou's friends. Since we've broken up, I naturally have no connection with them. In the end, I couldn't resist the harassment of 20 calls in 10 minutes. After thinking it over, it's better to cut the Gordian knot. As soon as I pressed the answer button, I heard Jiang Hanzhou's furious voice. "Xiao Ran, who gave you the guts to run away from the wedding, and to block me? Do you know what my business partners are saying about me behind my back? You've really gone too far this time. Don't expect me to forgive you so easily. Out with it. Where are you hiding? Just because I went to take care of Cece, you're trying to get back at me by running out on the wedding. Are you a child? How long is this tantrum going to last?" I frowned, unable to help finding the situation somewhat ridiculous. "If I recall correctly, you were the first one to run out on the wedding, young Master Jiang. As for where I am, an ex-boyfriend like you doesn't deserve to know. And another thing, stop using your friends' phones to call me. I'll block every single one of them." I hung up before he could even speak, then casually blocked his friend's number. When I looked up again, the car was already pulling into our private courtyard. My parents were waiting for me at the door. They led me to the room they had prepared, their eyes full of unspoken words. I know they're worried that I can't let go of Jiang Hanzhou. I hugged my parents and acted a little spoiled, assuring them I was truly fine. Mom secretly wiped away her tears, looking at me with eyes full of heartache. Ran, did Jiang Hanzhou not know you came here? He just called, asking about your whereabouts. He sounded so frantic, so I told him. Was it wrong of me to say anything? I tightened my grip on my mother's hand and let out a long, heavy sigh. I used to be so proud. How could I have ever let a man like Jiang Hanzhou make a fool of me, tossing me aside like a dog, when I could have stayed my parents' beloved princess? It's okay, Mom, I've let it go. Jiang Hanzhou's heart belongs to someone else, and I won't embarrass myself by chasing after him anymore. I was foolish and immature, and I'm sorry for all the worry I've caused you over the years. Seeing the resolve in my eyes, my parents finally began to believe me. They were afraid of stirring up my painful memories and dared not mention Jiang Hanzhou's name again, only urging me to rest early. After finally soaking in a hot bath to wash away my exhaustion, I opened my phone to find many calls from unfamiliar numbers. Seeing the familiar caller ID, I didn't need to guess. It was definitely Jiang Hanzhou. Perhaps my escape from the wedding drove him to the brink of madness. He seemed desperate to make up for all the calls of the past 7 years. As I scrolled through his accusatory texts, I deleted them one by one. Along with them, all traces of our past connections were erased. 7 years of emotions flashed through my mind in an instant, only when all data related to Jiang Hanzhou was deleted. Did I truly realize it's completely over between Jiang Hanzhou and me? I finally shed the shell of being Mrs. Jiang. By the time I sorted everything out, it was already the dead of night. My weary body, already exhausted from the day, felt a pang of hunger. The moment I opened the fridge, I saw the durian my parents had prepared for me because Jiang Hanzhou couldn't stand the smell of durian. I hadn't touched a single bite for 7 whole years. I was afraid of seeing that look of disgust on his face after the breakup. I finally didn't have to hold back anymore. As if to make up for past regrets, I ate an excessive amount, almost out of spite. Unsurprisingly, I found myself wide awake in the middle of the night while lying in bed scrolling through my phone. I was surprised to find that Shinshi had also sent me a message. No matter how many times we start over, he would always choose me. Some things were never meant to be yours, and you can't take them by force. Along with this message came a picture. It was a scene of Jiang Hanzhou wearing an apron, standing in the kitchen cooking porridge. This message arrived the moment I boarded the plane. It was her way of showing off, and also her way of asserting her claim. I should have turned a blind eye, but reality tells me I truly am a clown. Tears fall unbidden. It's both a reluctance to let go of the past and a release from it. After much struggle, I decided to make peace with the past. Qiao Ran, can pick up and let go. Rotten and stinking things should indeed be discarded. After posting, I deleted and blocked Shinshi, marking a clean break with the past. Perhaps having settled a lingering matter, I fell asleep soon after. I was woken up by my mom knocking on my door this morning. She'd noticed my binge eating from last night and gave me a concerned lecture. She only stopped after I repeatedly assured her I was truly over it. It was my sudden mention of wanting to study art further that really took them by surprise. Perhaps it was to help me move on from the shadows of the past sooner. Thanks to my parents' efforts, the school matter was approved very quickly. Fortunately, I had a background in art, so I could just about keep up with the lessons on the first day. During this time, I also made many friends, and my daily life became wonderfully fulfilling. The fastest way to get over someone is to keep yourself busy. There were even times I forgot Jiang Hanzhou existed. He hadn't bothered me again during this time. Just as I was growing more hopeful about the future, I suddenly saw Jiang Hanzhou at the school gate. I had a feeling he might show up. A friend from back home had tipped me off a few days ago. Ran, you wouldn't believe how chaotic it was today. Jiang Hanzhou and Shinshi had a huge argument right in front of everyone. From what I've heard, it seems that back when they were torn apart, Shinshi couldn't hold on any longer and took a 5 million yuan check from Zhang's mother, who would have known that later she got into a serious car accident and fell into a deep coma. Jiang Hanzhou still thought the two of them were a pair of devoted lovers, foolishly taking care of her for 7 years, unaware that he was the one being abandoned, mistaking a fisheye for a pearl. Now that you're gone, he must be regretting it to death, letting go of a devoted wealthy lady who adored him, and only having eyes for that vain and pretentious woman. He must be regretting it so much that his insides are twisted with remorse. In fact, Zhang's mother had already told me this news. I also leaked it to my friends, so they could spread a bit of gossip at the right time. I never expected them to choose the day when Jiang Hanzhou proposed to Shinshi. Having enjoyed 7 years of my efforts and the Qiao family's favors, it's time I collected some interest. Jiang Hanzhou quickly spotted me in the crowd. I glanced at him, uninterested, and turned to take another path. Just a few steps in, a figure stood in front of me. Before I could react, I was pulled into someone's embrace. Ran, don't avoid me. I know you're still angry. It was my fault for delaying our wedding to take care of Shinshi. I explained that to you that day. We can have the wedding again. Whatever you want to do is fine. And about the wedding dress you cut up at home, the gifts you threw away, if you don't like them, we can buy new ones. Please don't keep destroying our little home, okay? I thought chasing after him for 7 years had made me shameless enough. But I never imagined the man before me could twist the truth so masterfully. In his version, I was the one in the wrong. What made him so sure I'd come crawling back? Just how pathetic was I back then, that he thought I'd forgive him so soon after proposing to another woman? Swallowing the bitterness in my heart, I pulled myself free from his embrace. Jiang Hanzhou, how long are you going to keep lying to yourself? Was it really me who destroyed our home? It was you. Have you forgotten the dozens of gigabytes of videos documenting you and Shinshi's life together? And what home did we ever have? You only ever wanted me as a placeholder with the title of Mrs. Jiang, didn't you? The man before me must have come in a hurry. His hair was disheveled, his shirt untidy, a far cry from the elegant gentleman he once was. If this were the Qiao Ran of the past, she would have dutifully straightened his clothes and fixed his appearance, let alone with the temptation of the word wedding right before her eyes. Now I stand still, calmly enjoying his discomfiture, feeling an endless sense of satisfaction. Jiang Hanzhou's expression froze for a moment, and he instinctively questioned me. Who allowed you to touch my things? Did I give you permission? Do you even understand what it means to respect someone's privacy? As soon as the words left his mouth, it seemed he realized what he had said, and his face showed some embarrassment. Seeing him like that, I let out a scornful laugh. You're out socializing with Shenxi, yet you order me around to transfer your files. If the two USB drives weren't nearly identical, would I have had to look at such disgusting content? Jiang Hanzhou stared at my defiant expression, looking somewhat stunned, as if I had transformed back into the arrogant heiress I once was. He took a deep breath, and his attitude toward me softened. That video. My former assistant took it upon herself to keep it. The point is, it's not what you think between us. If it bothers you, I'll delete it as soon as we get back. In my heart, you're the only one worthy of being called Mrs. Jiang. My intention to marry you is genuine. What I feel for Shenxi is just a sense of guilt. After all, the accident happened because I insisted on meeting her that day. I promise you, you're the only one in my heart now. I truly want to marry you. I've made things clear with Shenxi, so there won't be any more misunderstandings from now on. I never knew someone could gloss over the truth so effortlessly in their own defense. Does he still think I'm that same Qiao Ran, blinded by love? I just couldn't help but laugh out loud. Jiang Hanzhou, it's one thing to lie to others, but how can you lie to yourself? Have you forgotten how you were dating me while secretly doting on another woman behind my back? Haven't you always treated me as nothing more than a tool to break into the business circle? All these years, I've never been in your eyes. You personally handled everything for Shenxi, but for me, you looked right through me. I was blinded by love, not actually blind. Do you even hear how ridiculous your explanation sounds right now? I'm not the Qiao Ran from 7 years ago anymore. Do you really think I'd just obediently come back to you after you abandoned me, insulted me, and ignored me? Jiang Hanzhou, do you really understand? We've broken up, it's completely over. As the last words fell, Jiang Hanzhou swayed slightly, his face almost pale. He stammered with his lips, unable to utter a single word. Only when I had walked half a meter away did his voice come from behind. I was a complete jerk. I'll delete those videos and cut all ties with Shenxi. I failed to see her for who she really was. I thought her love for me was pure, but I never imagined I was overlooking the one who truly loved me right beside me. If your mother hadn't told me, I would still be in the dark. That the princess who deserved to be cherished had loved me for a full 10 years, even willing to give up a spot at a foreign university for me. So, Ran, would you be willing to look back at me, just once? I finally understand how terribly wrong I was. I didn't stop walking. With each step, his tone grew more pleading, and I moved further and further away. This time, I won't look back. The truth is, I gave Jiang Hanzhou plenty of chances. The moment he jumped into the freezing winter water to save me, I knew I had fallen into a dream named Jiang Hanzhou. But all dreams must end. Shenxi's appearance finally made me realize that all the deception, manipulation, and verbal abuse were meant to drive me away. I returned home, only to unexpectedly find my parents waiting for me at the door. I suppose they already knew about Jiang Hanzhou coming to find me. Just as I was about to explain that I was fine, I noticed my mother's gaze fixed on something in the distance. I never expected Jiang Hanzhou to follow me home. He stood beneath a tree not far away, his figure looking even more frail against the bleak autumn wind. When he noticed I had seen him, he took the flowers from behind his back and walked over. Ran, I know you don't like roses, so I bought your favorite lilies. I remember today is your birthday. Please don't turn down my birthday wishes. Okay, I'm surprised he remembered my preferences. Even my birthday. He never used to care about these little gestures in the past. I would have been so excited I couldn't sleep for days, but now, it just feels like a bad omen. It's like crying after the dog bites, or regretting only after someone's gone. Where was all that concern earlier? I didn't even spare him a glance, simply linking arms with my parents and heading straight back to the room. As I sat at the dining table blowing out the candles, I caught a glimpse through the window of Jiang Hanzhou clapping his hands, murmuring something under his breath. After just one glance, I averted my eyes with my parents singing happy birthday. I blew out the candles in front of me. My phone kept buzzing with well wishes from friends, but one message stood out, feeling completely out of place at that moment. Ran, major drama. Shenxi showed up at the Jiang family's doorstep demanding to see Jiang Hanzhou. Somehow it escalated, and she even threatened suicide, but the Jeongs totally ignored her. Rumor has it she's in the ICU now. I never expected Shin Shi to go this far. What about Jeon Hanjo? Does he know that his former love is on the brink of death, yet still came here to celebrate my birthday? It turns out that one day, I would become his priority. I don't care anymore. The next day, I went about my usual life, but today was busy with schoolwork, and it was already late by the time I finished. Since it wasn't far from home, I didn't ask the driver to wait for me. By the time I came out, it was already getting dark, but luckily there were streetlights. But I didn't expect the intersection on my way home to be under cable maintenance, leaving it pitch dark. Already suffering from night blindness, my legs went weak, and I quickly called the driver to come over. I crouched in a corner with a flashlight, and during the wait, I had a creeping feeling that someone was watching me. I struggled to suppress my fear, gripping tightly the self-defense tool I always carried. Only when the car lights came on did I see the face of the figure not far away. It was Jeon Hanjo. During those 10 dark minutes, he quietly stayed by my side, but I am no longer the Chaoran who frantically fled after being left on the hillside. I am calm enough, and strong enough. I don't need him anymore. Just before getting on the bus, I decided to go and talk it out with him. Jeon Hanjo, not everything can be undone. I'm not the person I was 7 years ago. The words you said and the things you did have etched themselves into my very bones, unerasable. When I look at you, all I can think of are those painful memories. So, please, let me go, and let yourself go. 2. Okay, he seemed to be struck with a heavy blow, standing still until the car turned the corner, still not moving. Jeon Hanjo might as well have vanished. I never saw him again. A friend back home told me that Jeon Hanjo had returned to the country. He had Shin Shi, who was critically injured and unconscious, thrown out of the hospital, and announced that the Jeong family's future development would shift overseas. After that, I never heard from him again. Then, on my birthday the following year, I received a USB drive. To my surprise, it contained footage of the time Jeon Hanjo and I were together, mostly chaotic angles, probably pieced together haphazardly. The end of the film features a text segment. I am willing to wait until you accept. After watching, I casually tossed the USB drive into the trash. He probably doesn't know that he won't make it. In my second year here, I met a boy with a passionate heart. He gradually melted me. The day Jeon Hanjo's company was officially established abroad was the same day I got engaged. At that moment, the crowd below was cheering for my fiancé and me to kiss. Suddenly, a commotion broke out outside the door. The person who was supposed to be cutting the ribbon at the company staggered in, his eyes bloodshot. In the corner of my eye during the kiss, I saw Jeon Hanjo suddenly clutching his head and weeping.